Hi guys, my name is Stefano and I'm a design strategist, an online trainer and facilitator. Now in this video, I want to explore the difference between analyzing an industry using the 5 forces framework developed at Harvard Business School about 40 years ago by Professor Michael Porter and looking at an industry with our creative eyes and see if we are able to spot the possibility of creating a new industry. So let's begin. Okay, so let's get started with a tool, the 5 forces that enable us to perform an industry analysis. Now, the biggest contribution of this framework is that enables us as strategists to look at the overall level of profitability of our industry, not only based on our direct competitors that compete with us, but rather with a more holistic way to look at the overall industry and say, actually, the overall profitability of an industry, yes, is dictated by the number of competitors that are in the industry. Obviously, the more competitors you have, the more the industry is less profitable or tend to be less profitable. But also Michael Porter invites us to look at the industry broadly and say, who are the other players in the industry? And if you look at this graphic horizontally, we have on the left side, what is the bargaining power of your suppliers and what is the bargaining powers of your buyers? Both players can constrain the profitability of your industry. And vertically, Michael Porter's enables us to see how new entrants and also substitute product and service can put a cap, a constraints on the overall profitability of an industry. Now, having identified the other players in the industry is vital, but also even more vital, I would say, is to draw the right boundaries of our industry. And that, let me tell you, that possibly is the most difficult job of the strategist when want to analyze the industry in which his or her company is competing. Now, let's say that you have identified the players in the industry, you have drawn the right boundaries of the industry. Well, what we know as strategists is that our job is not competing by destroying or trying to be the best within the set industry, the set boundaries of the industry. But what we have to do in order to be good strategists is try to find a way to enlarge, to expand the overall pool of profit of our industry. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by expanding the overall boundaries of the industry. In so doing, by the positioning school, we are creating the possibility of generating new positioning within the industry that enables us to access a pool of profit that wouldn't be there unless we expanded the industry. Now, let me tell you that this way of thinking about the job of the strategist as an analytical effort is useful because it enables the strategist to look at the industry and try to expand the industry in order to find new positioning is very helpful. But at the same time, if you look at that creatively, which is basically the job of the creative strategist, is very limited. It's limited because it suffers of incremental thinking. You take an industry and try to make that industry a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit more profitable. So my observation here is that sometimes there is space to expand the boundary of the industry. And sometimes that is quite difficult. And even if you are able to do so, even if you find new positioning within an industry or expand that industry, well, it doesn't take long for your competitors to understand that there is a new space in the industry to compete, and then they start to imitate you and try to copy your positioning. And that is when I believe creativity start to be important and start to make a very deep contribution in business strategy. The main difference in the job of the strategist that wants just to expand the industry, or rather that wants to create a new industry, is the starting point. When we as strategists want to compete by expanding an already existing industry, we think analytically. We use the 5 forces framework in order to understand how competition is happening in our industry and how to possibly create new positioning by expanding the boundaries of the industry. And that we have seen that suffer in a way of incremental thinking. Now, when we want to use creativity in order to create new industry, we need to shift our attention from the old players that are playing within an industry and focus only on the market, specifically on those set of needs of our users or customers that are either unmet or unarticulated. And is here, ladies and gentlemen, where we can find the space, the hints, and the possibility to create new industry, not only to expand the industry in which we are competing, but rather to create new industries that at the beginning will be very small, very limited, but that will grow over time. I created this video simply because I believe there is a lot of confusion on which unit we need to use in order to expand our industry or rather create a new industry. When we want to expand the industry, we perform an industry analysis. We start by looking at the overall competitors in the industry. When we want to disrupt an industry, we focus only on the demand side, on the market, rather than the overall industry. I hope this video has clarified some of those issues that many of us as strategists face when we try to either create new value proposition, creating new industries, and compete sustainably. I'll see you soon.